Doing this with your arms will help increase your distance control. Now, we're a channel that is powered by you, the viewers, and as long as you're a subscriber and you've turned on the bell, I'll be sure to answer your question. Today we're looking at kneel tees. I'm a work in progress, I'm getting better, but distance control is my issue. Okay, so we've come just short of the 12th green. Now look at that flag, just the bottom of a slope. That is a nasty one. Now, one thing that I've been banging my head against the wall with over the last few weeks is all I've seen when people have either come to me for a lesson down here at Mottram, or I've seen YouTube videos, it's all about distance, hit it longer, do this, do that. We don't look at this area of the game. Yes, I'm not saying distance isn't important, but so is this. And I would argue this, for a mid-handicapper, nailing these shots are so key. Let me just paint some scenarios for you here. So come over, we're going to talk through what the arms do here. But say you've chipped out on a par 5 and you've laid up. Say you've had to chip out a bunker on a par 4. How many times do you have inside 100 yards? You can nail these shots. You can really give yourself a chance of breaking 100, breaking 90, breaking 80, or even breaking 75. And I know you want to achieve that this year. So I want you to understand this concept. The arms are for lifting and the body is for turning. Let me explain. And we're looking at pitch shots here, but this is the rule that I would say works for every single club in your bag. So have a look at this here. If I do them both in isolation here, and I just lifted my arms, okay? Just like this action. Imagine I'm axing something down on the ground in front of me. That would look like that. Now, I've had my arms down here on the ground, where most of us start in that address position, and I just turned, my swing would look like this. All I would do would be that, and I wouldn't create much power doing that. So we've got to understand here, the golf swing is a combination of them both. As I say, I'll repeat this again, come closely, listen up. The arms are for lifting and the body is for turning. So combining that, it looks a little bit like this. So we turn and lift. So there will be a sense, and how I sort of manage this with golfers is as my arms, or as my hands pass my hip height, I feel as though my arms lift as I turn. So really watch closely my body action. I'm turning, lifting, turning, lifting. Again, I'm not just staying down here, there is an element of this in that backswing, and that is vitally important. Right, let's dial in these shots now. This is something, as I say, that doesn't really get talked about, and it really does wind me up. The first thing I want to ask you is, what wedges do you carry? I have 50, 54 and 58, and I want you to get comfortable using this swing with all of them, because that's going to elevate your game. Now, the first tweak we're going to make is our halfway swing, our 9 p.m. swing. So that is going, a little brief reminder of setup. I know setup might be boring for some of you, but you've got to get this right. 2 club heads widths apart, left foot slightly flared, weight on our left hand side. Now, I've got my 50 degree here. This is absolutely perfect for around 60 yards and that 9 p.m. swing. Now, the ideal thing you've got to remember here is pitching isn't about, whoa, give it a whack. It's about delicate moves. And how I want you to just remind yourself of this, listen closely, I'm just going to feel as though as I start down, my club just drops onto the ball. So it's almost like I'm pulling an elastic band back and I'm letting it go. And I'm only pulling it back to 9 o'clock, so it's not firing too fast through. So here we go, proof's in the pudding, Alex. Let's do the 9 p.m. one before we move back, because there is a second part to this. Here we go. It should be in my wheelhouse, this. Look at that. We will take that all day. Spin and stop too. So let's take around 20 paces back. Let's go to 80 yards. And I really want you to try as hard as you can to, when you go to the driving range, say you buy 50 balls, just spend your first 20 balls working on this length of shot. Okay, the second part of this is hands to shoulder. Use that theory again though. I'm just pulling the elastic band back a little bit further and letting it go so it goes through a little bit brisker. But we're still going down the idea of, in the backswing, right, in the golf swing in general, the body is for turning and the arms are for lifting. We don't lift the arms by tilting the body like this, because if we were to do it like this, we'd be sort of over the top all the time. So here we go. I mean, one thing I think is a big misconception here, and this might be some new information. Tour pros, they try and get their wedges to go much lower, and we all have this idea of getting our wedges high. We want them to come in like a plane landing, not a nose diving, not someone diving off a diving board. I was trying to think of a good analogy there. Okay, so here we go. Let me hit this one in here. Again, look at the height of it, look at the flight of it. I'm going to get the same setup. All I'm going to do now is feel like as I turn, I lift my arms, okay, to shoulder height. Drop them in. Look at them, I actually did it closer with the second ball than I did the first. So that's really annoying sometimes, isn't it? You think you've hit it really close, you get up there, and it gets further away. Thanks so much for watching today's video. As I say, please do subscribe. It helps me if you turn on the bell too.